At a 10% average annual return over 30 years, that small daily habit could grow into hundreds of thousands of dollars. Think about that. The issue isn't the coffee. The issue is spending money automatically without ever questioning where it's going. Wealthy people understand something most people don't. Small expenses become massive expenses when repeated for decades. And that's why the first item on this list isn't coffee. It's unconscious spending. Coffee just happens to be one of the most common examples. Number 19, brand new cars. Nothing destroys wealth faster than buying something that's guaranteed to lose value. And few purchases do that better than a brand new car. According to depreciation studies, many new vehicles lose around 20% of their value during the first year alone. Imagine buying a $50,000 vehicle. 12 months later, it's worth roughly $40,000. You didn't crash it. Nothing broke. You simply owned it. That's a $10,000 loss for doing absolutely nothing. And here's what makes this even worse. Most people don't buy these vehicles with cash. They finance them, meaning they're paying interest on an asset that's already losing value. It's like running up a hill while someone pulls you backward. The wealthy often view vehicles as transportation. The average consumer views vehicles as status. And that difference in mindset can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars over a lifetime. Number 18, lottery tickets. Every year, Americans spend more than $100 billion on lottery tickets. Think about that. More than $100 billion. For a chance. Not a guarantee. A chance. The lottery sells a dream of escaping work, escaping bills, escaping financial stress. But here's the irony. The people most likely to buy lottery tickets are often the people who can least afford them. Imagine someone spending $20 every week on tickets. That doesn't sound like much, until you realize that's over $1,000 every year. Over 10 years, more than $10,000. And that's before accounting for potential investment growth. The lottery asks you to believe that one lucky moment can change your life. Wealth building asks you to believe that thousands of small decisions can change your life. One relies on luck. The other relies on discipline. And discipline wins far more often. Number 17, designer clothing. There is nothing wrong with looking good, but there is a difference between dressing well and paying for a logo. The global luxury fashion industry generates hundreds of billions of dollars every year. Why? Because status sells. People don't buy the shirt, they buy the feeling, the image, the perception. But perception doesn't build wealth. Assets do. A $500 designer shirt and a $50 shirt perform the same basic function. Yet one leaves $450 available for investing. Most wealthy people understand something surprising. The goal isn't to look rich. The goal is to become rich. And those are often two very different paths. Many people spend years trying to appear successful, while truly successful people spend years building assets nobody sees. One lifestyle gets attention. The other builds freedom. Number 16, the latest smartphone every year. Technology moves fast, but not as fast as marketers want you to believe. Every year, millions of people upgrade perfectly functional phones, not because they need to, because they're told to. A slightly better camera, a slightly brighter screen, a slightly faster processor. And somehow that's enough to convince people to spend another $1,200. Then do it again next year, and the year after that. Now imagine investing that money instead. Over decades, those upgrades become tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in missed opportunity. The wealthy rarely ask, "What can I buy?" They ask, "What will this cost me in the future?" Because every dollar spent today has an invisible future value attached to it. And the people who understand that concept usually end up far ahead of those who don't. Number 15, buy now, pay later. This might be one of the most dangerous financial trends of the last decade because it doesn't feel like debt. That's exactly why it works. You see a $300 purchase. The app says, only $25 today. Suddenly, your brain stops thinking about the actual price and starts focusing on the monthly payment. That's the trap. Companies discovered something fascinating. People spend significantly more when they pay in installments instead of paying upfront. Not because they can afford more, because the pain of paying feels smaller. But reality doesn't change. $300 is still $300. The only difference is that now your future income has already been spent. And here's where things get ugly. Most people don't have one payment. They have 10. A phone payment, a furniture payment, a laptop payment, a vacation payment, a clothing payment. Individually, they look harmless. Together, they become financial quicksand. The wealthy buy things when they can afford them. The average consumer buys things hoping they'll afford them later. And that mindset creates two very different futures. Number 14, credit card interest. Imagine investing money and earning 20%. Most people would call that incredible. Now imagine losing 20%. That's what millions of people do every year through credit card interest. The average credit card interest rate in America is often above 20%. Think about that. If you carry a balance of $10,000, you could be paying thousands every year just for the privilege of staying in debt. And here's what makes credit card debt so dangerous. It's invisible. Nobody sees it. Your neighbors see the vacation. They see the new television. They see the upgraded kitchen. They don't see the interest payments quietly destroying your future behind the scenes. The bank doesn't care what you bought. They only care that you keep paying, month after month, year after year. And for many people, that's exactly what happens. They become trapped, working harder not to get ahead, but simply to stay where they are. Number 13. Unused subscriptions. Netflix, Spotify, Disney+, gym memberships, cloud storage, premium apps, online courses. Most subscriptions start small. $10, $15, $20, no big deal, until you have 20 of them. A survey found that many consumers underestimate how much they spend on subscriptions by hundreds of dollars per year. Why? Because subscriptions are designed to disappear. You don't physically hand over cash. You don't swipe a card. The money simply vanishes automatically, month after month. The companies know something important. People cancel gym memberships. People forget subscriptions. People stop using services, but many never cancel. Imagine paying for something you haven't used in 6 months. Now imagine doing that for 10 different services. That's not convenience, that's leakage. And financial success often comes down to plugging the leaks before chasing bigger income. Number 12, daily takeout. Food delivery apps changed everything, and not always for the better. What used to cost $12 now costs $25 after delivery fees, service fees, taxes, and tips. People aren't just paying for food anymore. They're paying for convenience. Again, convenience is wonderful until it becomes a habit. A person ordering lunch and dinner through delivery apps several times a week can easily spend thousands more per year than someone preparing meals at home. And here's the scary part. Most people never notice because each purchase feels small. It's only when you add them together that the truth becomes obvious. The wealthy understand delayed gratification. They know that small sacrifices today can create enormous rewards tomorrow. The average consumer wants comfort now, and often sacrifices future freedom to get it. Number 11, status purchases. This one might make some people uncomfortable because it has nothing to do with products and everything to do with psychology. Status purchases are things people buy primarily to impress others. The luxury watch, the designer handbag, the expensive car, the VIP experience. The goal isn't utility. The goal is recognition. But here's something fascinating. Most people are too busy worrying about their own lives to think about your purchases. Yet millions of people go into debt trying to impress people who barely notice. Think about that. Imagine sacrificing years of financial progress for a few moments of social approval. The wealthy often play a completely different game. Instead of asking, "What will people think of me?" they ask, "What will this investment become in 10 years?" One mindset creates admiration. The other creates wealth. And eventually, wealth creates a level of freedom that admiration never can. Number 10, luxury apartments. There is a difference between having a nice place to live and paying extra to impress strangers. Unfortunately, millions of people confuse the two. Luxury apartment buildings sell a lifestyle: the rooftop pool, the fitness center, the concierge, the modern lobby. The problem? Most residents barely use half of those amenities, yet they pay for them every month. Imagine two people earning the same salary. One pays $1,500 per month in rent. The other pays $3,000. The second person isn't necessarily happier, but they're spending an extra $18,000 every year. Over 10 years, that's $180,000. And invested properly, that number could become much larger. The wealthy understand something powerful. Your home should support your financial goals, not sabotage them. Because financial freedom isn't about looking successful. It's about creating options. And options come from keeping more of your money, not spending more of it. Number 9, impulse Amazon purchases. Amazon mastered something few companies understand better than anyone else: convenience. You see something, you click, it arrives tomorrow. No waiting, no thinking, no second guessing. And that's exactly the problem. A study found that consumers make significantly more impulse purchases online than in traditional stores. Why? Because buying no longer feels like spending. There's no physical cash, no checkout line, no moment to reconsider, just one click. Most people don't remember the hundreds of small items they bought last year, but their bank account does. The scary part isn't the big purchases. It's the tiny purchases repeated hundreds of times. A $20 gadget here, a $35 accessory there, a $15 item because it looked useful. By the end of the year, thousands of dollars have disappeared, not through one bad decision, through hundreds of tiny ones. Number 8, furniture financing. Walk into almost any furniture store. You'll see the same promise. No money down, 0% financing, easy monthly payments. Sounds great until you realize what's actually happening. Instead of asking, "Can I afford this couch?" people ask, "Can I afford the monthly payment?" And that's a completely different question. A $4,000 living room set suddenly feels affordable when it's broken into monthly installments. But the price hasn't changed. The debt hasn't changed. Only the perception has changed. And that's dangerous. The wealthy understand that financing depreciating items should be approached carefully, because every monthly payment reduces future flexibility. Every obligation reduces future options. The goal isn't owning impressive furniture. The goal is owning your financial future. Number 7, extended warranties. This one surprises people because extended warranties feel responsible. They feel safe. They feel smart. But statistically, they're often one of the most profitable products a company sells. Not for the customer, for the company. Think about it. If extended warranties consistently saved consumers money, retailers wouldn't push them so aggressively. The reality is simple. Most products never experience a major issue during the warranty period, which means millions of customers pay for protection they never use. Of course, there are exceptions. Sometimes warranties make sense, but many people buy them automatically without calculating the actual risk. And that's the lesson. Financially successful people don't buy based on fear. They buy based on probability. They evaluate risk. Then they make a decision, instead of simply accepting every extra cost presented to them. Number 6, fast fashion. Fast fashion has changed the way people shop. New styles every week, low prices, constant trends, endless temptation. And that's exactly why it's so profitable. For the companies, not the consumers. Because fast fashion creates a cycle. Buy, wear, replace, repeat. The average consumer often purchases far more clothing than they actually need. Not because their wardrobe is empty, because there's always something newer, something trendier, something slightly different. The wealthy often focus on value, quality over quantity, longevity over trends, because every dollar spent chasing temporary trends is a dollar that isn't building long-term assets. And here's the irony. The people trying hardest to look wealthy often end up delaying actual wealth, while the people quietly building wealth rarely feel the need to prove it. Number 10, luxury apartments. There is absolutely nothing wrong with wanting a beautiful place to live. The problem begins when your home becomes a status symbol instead of a place to live. Luxury apartment buildings are designed to sell a lifestyle. Infinity pools, private gyms, concierge service, rooftop lounges, coffee bars. They look incredible. And that's exactly the point. Developers know people don't just rent an apartment. They rent an identity. But here's the question almost nobody asks. How often do residents actually use those amenities? Many don't. Yet they pay hundreds of extra dollars every single month for features they barely touch. Imagine 2 friends earning exactly the same salary. One rents a comfortable apartment for $1,600 a month. The other chooses a luxury high-rise for $3,000. Everything else about their lives is identical. After 1 year, the second person has spent over $16,000 more simply on housing. After 10 years, that's more than $160,000. Now imagine that money invested instead. The opportunity cost becomes enormous. Wealthy people don't ask, "How impressive does this apartment look?" They ask, "Will this decision help me become financially free?" Because freedom isn't found in expensive buildings. It's found in having choices. Number 9, impulse Amazon purchases. Amazon changed shopping forever. Everything is one click away. Need headphones? Tomorrow. Need a blender? Tomorrow. Need something you didn't even know existed 5 minutes ago? Also tomorrow. Convenience is amazing. But convenience can become expensive. Psychologists have discovered that the easier it becomes to buy something, the less time people spend deciding whether they actually need it. That's why online shopping has become one of the biggest silent wealth killers. Not because people buy expensive things, because they buy small, unnecessary things over and over again. A phone stand, kitchen gadgets, LED lights, organizers, wireless chargers. None of them seem expensive. But imagine spending just $40 every week on random purchases. That's more than $2,000 every year. Over 20 years? Without investment growth, you've already spent over $40,000. With investing, that same money could become several times larger. The biggest financial leaks rarely come from one terrible decision. They come from hundreds of tiny decisions nobody remembers making. Number 8, furniture financing. Walk into almost any furniture showroom. You'll immediately notice the giant signs. Zero down, 0% financing, only $89 per month. Notice something? They never want you thinking about the full price, only the monthly payment. Because monthly payments make expensive things feel cheap. A $6,000 living room suddenly feels affordable, not because it is, because your brain only sees $80 or $90 each month. That's consumer psychology, and it works. Companies know people buy based on monthly affordability, not total cost. Financially successful people think differently. Instead of asking, "Can I afford the payment?" they ask, "Can I comfortably afford the entire purchase?" That's a completely different mindset. Debt limits flexibility. Every payment you commit to today becomes money your future self can no longer use. Owning beautiful furniture feels good. Owning your financial future feels even better. Number 7, extended warranties. This purchase feels responsible, almost intelligent. You're standing at the checkout counter. The employee smiles and asks, "Would you like to protect your purchase for just another $149? Suddenly, you're imagining everything that could go wrong. Your TV breaking, your laptop failing, your washing machine stopping. Fear becomes part of the sales process. But here's something interesting. Retailers make billions every year selling extended warranties. Why? Because statistically, most customers never use them. If extended warranties consistently saved customers money, stores wouldn't push them so aggressively. Now, there are exceptions. Some expensive products truly deserve extra protection, but many people buy warranties automatically without asking a simple question. What's actually the probability I'll need this? The wealthy don't eliminate risk. They calculate it. And that small habit often saves them thousands of dollars over a lifetime. Number 6, fast fashion. Fashion trends used to change every season. Now they change every week. New collections, new colors, new influencers, new reasons to spend money. Fast fashion companies aren't really selling clothes. They're selling urgency. They want customers to believe that if they don't buy today, they'll miss out forever. And millions fall into that trap. People buy clothes they don't need to impress people they barely know. With money they could have invested. Open your closet. How many items haven't been worn in the past year? Most people own far more clothing than they actually use. The wealthy often follow a different philosophy. Buy fewer things. Buy better things. Keep them longer. Because fashion trends disappear. Financial freedom doesn't. Trying to look wealthy is expensive. Actually becoming wealthy is much more rewarding. Number 5, lifestyle inflation. This is the purchase that doesn't come in a box. You can't hold it. You can't touch it. But it quietly destroys more wealth than almost anything else on this list. It's called lifestyle inflation. Here's how it works. You get a raise. Instead of investing the extra income, you upgrade your life. A nicer apartment, a newer car, more vacations, more expensive restaurants, better clothes. Nothing feels unreasonable. After all, you earned it. But here's the problem. Every increase in income is immediately matched by an increase in spending. So even though you're making twice as much money, you still feel broke. A study on consumer spending found that as income rises, spending usually rises almost just as quickly. Not because people need more, because they become used to more. That's why someone earning $70,000 can feel just as financially stressed as someone earning $35,000. Their lifestyle simply expanded to absorb every dollar. The wealthy don't celebrate higher income by spending more. They celebrate by buying more assets, because income can disappear. Assets keep working. Number 4, buying things to impress people. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you remembered the shoes someone else was wearing? Probably not recently. Yet millions of people spend thousands of dollars every year trying to impress people who aren't paying attention. Think about that. The expensive watch, the luxury handbag, the newest car, the designer sneakers. Most of these purchases aren't made because people truly need them. They're made because people hope they'll be noticed. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Everyone is thinking about themselves, not you. Psychologists even have a name for this. It's called the spotlight effect. We believe other people notice us far more than they actually do, so we spend money chasing attention that rarely exists. Meanwhile, the truly wealthy often drive older cars, wear simple clothes, live quietly, because they understand something powerful. Money invested creates freedom. Money spent chasing approval creates pressure. The richest person in the room often isn't the one who looks rich. Number 3, never investing in yourself. Most people think education ends after school. The wealthy know it starts there. One of the highest return investments you'll ever make isn't in the stock market. It's in your own skills. Learning sales, learning marketing, learning AI, learning coding, learning communication, learning negotiation. These skills can increase your income for decades. Yet many people will spend $2,000 on a vacation and complain that a $200 course is too expensive. That's backwards. Experiences are valuable, but skills continue paying you long after the vacation photos are forgotten. Every year, technology changes, industries evolve, jobs disappear. The people who continue learning continue growing. The people who stop learning slowly fall behind. Your income rarely grows beyond your ability to create value, and increasing your value begins with investing in yourself. Number 2, buying liabilities instead of assets. This is where everything starts to change. Most people spend their lives buying things that take money out of their pockets. Cars, gadgets, furniture, luxury vacations. None of these are necessarily bad, but they aren't assets. An asset is something that puts money back into your pocket. Stocks, index funds, rental properties, profitable businesses, royalties, dividend investments. The average person asks, "What can I afford to buy?" Wealthy people ask, "Will this purchase make me money?" That one question changes everything. Imagine two people receiving a $5,000 bonus. One buys a luxury vacation. The other invests in an index fund. 10 years later, one has memories. The other has memories in a growing investment. The goal isn't to avoid enjoying life. The goal is making sure your money has employees. Every dollar should have a job. If every dollar leaves, none of them can come back with friends. Number 1, waiting to invest. If you only remember one thing from this entire video, remember this. The biggest financial mistake isn't buying expensive coffee, or luxury cars, or designer clothes. It's waiting. Waiting until next year. Waiting until you earn more. Waiting until the market feels safer. Waiting until life slows down. Because time is the one thing money can never replace. Imagine two friends. Both invest exactly the same amount every month. The first starts at age 22. The second waits until age 32. Just 10 years later, same investment, same return, same discipline. Yet the person who started first often ends up with hundreds of thousands of dollars more by retirement. Not because they invested more money, because they invested more time. That's the incredible power of compound growth. Money grows, then the growth grows, then that growth begins growing too. It's like planting a tree. The best time was years ago. The second best time is today. Let me leave you with two people, Daniel and Alex. Both were 25 years old. Both earned about $60,000 a year. Daniel loved looking successful. Every raise meant a nicer apartment, a newer phone, a better car, designer clothes, weekend shopping. He told himself he'd start investing later. Alex made a different decision. He kept driving his reliable used car. He skipped unnecessary upgrades. He invested every month. He learned new skills after work. Eventually, he started a small side business. 15 years later, Daniel still had a decent paycheck, but almost no financial freedom. Alex wasn't just earning money anymore. His investments were earning money. His business was earning money. His assets were earning money. One spent years buying things that looked rich. The other spent years building wealth no one could see. And that's the difference. Real wealth isn't about owning expensive things. It's about waking up every morning without financial fear. Because the truth is, poor people don't stay poor because they earn too little. They stay poor because they keep buying things that make someone else rich. So before your next purchase, ask yourself one simple question. Will this make my future self wealthier or just make today feel better? That single question could change your financial future. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments. Which purchase do you think keeps the most people broke? If this changed the way you think about money, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want more practical lessons on building wealth, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.